Yo, 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 what's up, fam? It is a beautiful day out here. I hope you're having a great one. Very excited. Episode 26 of Collectin and Connectin podcast. We got our co-host. We got 3Ball34. How you doing today, buddy?
What up? What up?
I guess he's doing good. We got Glenn Jammin, aka Glenn. How are you today, sir?
What's up? How's it hanging?
Salute. Hanging straight down. Thank you for asking.
Easy.
And the best, definitely not the last, we have Ariel. What is up, my friend? How are you?
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me today. It's a big day.
VIP in the house. What's up?
I know. He's coming in all like, no, hey, guys, good to see you. Like, we're about to get hyped.
Lakers fan number one right here, representing the LA Showtime. They just won the in-season tournament, Ariel. I know you're pumped, dude.
First ever.
It was pretty cool. And I even stayed up past my bedtime to watch it on the East Coast. Those games are tough to watch. So
look at you.
Made some effort as a Laker fan. So.
I used to laugh when I was younger about the late nights and West Coast game comments, but now that I'm getting older in my age, I definitely understand it's hard. I'm glad that we can record the games and watch them the next day.
It is so tough. I used to do it early on, like when I first moved to Toronto. I would stay up till like 1:30 every Laker game, and then I couldn't get up in the mornings. And as I gotten older, I'm like, I can't do it anymore. If I'm lucky, I'll even watch those 7:00 games, because once you have kids, 7:00 is also a tough time to watch games. So I'm kind of watching highlights and watching the, you could do the next day, the pre-record where you could get like fast forward and turn into like 5-minute quarters. So I got a 20-minute game.
Yeah, the condensed games are brilliant. That's very smart for people that have busy schedules for sure, or they just can't stay up late.
Yeah,
exactly.
Technology.
Yeah, what do you think it actually meant being in the, winning the in-season tournament? Do you think it's gimmicky, way to try to get more excitement around the regular season, or do you think it actually means something?
I think it means nothing, but to watch, like it means nothing in terms of like anything, like they're not getting anything out of it other than the cash that they're getting, which is nice. Right. But it definitely made people tune in. I know I was in Boston this past weekend and with friends, and they were watching the games that they normally wouldn't watch. It's December. It's a busy time of year for everyone. And, normally any game wouldn't be really that interesting in December. And I mean, Hallie was a must-see anytime you could watch him play. I mean, the guy was insane.
Dude, he was incredible.
I don't think I've ever seen like 15 assists, 0 turnovers, like in multiple games. It was just insane, right? The Lakers were playing incredible. Just all the teams. It was so much fun to tune in and watch these guys care in December.
If only the Lakers cared that much in the regular season towards the end, you'd be really hyped.
Yeah, exactly. They got to save they got to save. So the only problem is, right, the Lakers just played one extra game this season, if I'm correct. So that might, so if they lose in the playoffs, I'm blaming it on the in-season tournament. They had one extra game.
Prepared.
LeBron's too tired. He's too tired.
You make a great point about making the December and November basketball meaningful for not only the players but for the fans. You had people around you that were watching that weren't normally watching. I'm kind of with you a little bit, Glenn, that it is gimmicky and that they're kind of creating something out of nothing, but it all kind of starts like that. And you don't know what it's going to look like in a couple of years. And if that is going to become something that they care and we care, it's something that they could sell to a TV contract or find another way to make more money for the league, which would just create more stuff for us to watch and consume.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't LeBron popping champagne afterwards in the locker room?
Yeah, dude. It was funny. He had the medal hanging around his neck, and he said, "I'm going to show these young kids how to celebrate." And he put the goggles on. He's shaking the champagne, and all the kids are running around trying to hide from him. It was actually fun to watch.
Yeah, I think really cool to see. It was refreshing. I did see on Twitter, and I think we mentioned in one of our chats that they're now talking about maybe potentially giving the winners a spot in the playoffs, like lock in a spot for the playoffs, which I absolutely hate. That should not happen. It just could you imagine if the Lakers now just got to phone it in the rest of LeBron wouldn't play.
Yeah,
for the
he
rest of the
just
season.
sat
Yeah,
the rest
Yeah,
of
true.
it.
I'll take 50 games off. I'll sleep 12 hours a night. I'll get a personal trainer. He'll
Talk
come into
about
the
load
playoffs.
management.
Right. Yeah. He'll come into the playoffs feeling like a 22-year-old. I mean, that would be incredible for the Lakers and LeBron, but the reality is that doesn't work. So, I mean, I would love to see something like maybe you get the first pick in the second round of the draft, you just move up, or something like that is a pretty cool reward on top of, the players getting cash, but like as a team, that would be like the team prize. Something along those lines kind of makes sense, but I would not lock in a playoff spot or a guaranteed playoff spot.
That's a good point.
Right. Also, if LeBron and AD go down, you're going to give a guaranteed playoff spot to a team that's going to go, 3-50 the rest of the way. Like, no, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
With the money on the line, it was cool to watch the benches. They were pretty excited trying to win everything and to get that prize pool.
Yeah, speaking of 3-50, shout out to our Detroit fans.
Oh my goodness!
Are you going to bring up Washington?
More
Wizards
shots
again?
fired.
Washington has a few more wins, don't they?
I don't think so. Yeah. So anyway, it was definitely a cool experience. Interesting to see. I'm pretty sure Top Shot is going to release something commemorating it, because as we said, if Top Shot's goal is to share the stories of each season, this is a historical moment that happened this season. If they decide this never happens again, it's a once in a lifetime thing. And if it continues happening, it's the first ever. So either way, it needs to be right. It needs to be somewhat momented. I know that's not a real word, but like
it is.
I guess it needs to be minted into a moment somehow. And I don't know what that's going to look like.
Oh my! I'm so excited to use the word "momented" from now on.
Yeah,
bro, I can't wait till that's momented.
Yeah, it should be momented.
Moment that.
A word. That's
momentized. I like
monetize.
Love it.
No.
Already doing that. So we got a few things on the show today. Definitely going to talk Lakers like we have been. I got our Laker fan number one here. Definitely going to touch base on a few things. We'll have Name That Player a little bit later where we can test your fandom, and that's going to be a little fun. And one of our first segments that we started doing, Sticky Icky Wiki, we're preparing for these interviews and to talk with our friends about basketball, and we'll be looking things up on Wikipedia and things that stick out to us. I didn't know the story of Bill Sharman. I guess he started as a Boston Celtic and was a big player for them, but ended up being the head coach of the Lakers in '72, and then ended up being in the management office after that, and has won several championships and is a big deal there in LA. But a thing that stood out in his bio was he's the creator of the morning shoot around that previous to him didn't get the team together on game day to go through some stuff. And ever since him, every team does it. It's a part of the culture, a part of the daily prep.
Well, let's be clear. They probably did get together, but they were snorting lines of cocaine and drinking beer in the 70s.
Yeah,
right? It wasn't right? Exercise wasn't, shoot arounds and exercise and stretching weren't part of their daily routine, but they definitely had some other stuff going down.
It was a different kind of shoot around.
Exactly.
Yeah. There you go. Shooting other things. That's funny. Yeah. Enjoyed reading about him and seemed like he had a lot going on for LA and the history there. But that little note of something that's just everyday regularity, I thought that jumped out at me.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Always these little crazy tidbits that even like as a Laker, like a diehard Laker fan for many years, I've learned so much. There was one that I recently heard on the Owned podcast with Rex Chapman. I highly recommend it. By the way, they interview fan bases, but they also have interviewed some owners about like good and bad owners in all sports leagues. So it's really just fascinating. So they talk about Donald Sterling helped Jerry Buss buy the Lakers, which is just really fascinating. Yeah, he I don't know if he lent him some money or like he had some cash flow issues that like he couldn't get his money out in time. So Donald Sterling actually helped him. And I think looking back, Donald Sterling wished he had the Lakers, but the whole history of the league would have been different. if it was that way.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing this out there. If anyone wants to help me buy the Dallas Mavericks, I'm totally down to negotiate and have that conversation. Just
Whoa.
put it.
He's already captain of the Mavericks. Let's make him a part owner as well.
Call me Vegas.
Well, I'm probably two phone calls away from Miriam Adelson. So,
oh my gosh!
I mean, it would be a big favor, but
we haven't talked about that yet on the show.
I don't ask a lot.
Mark Cuban sold a piece of the Mavericks to give up some ownership to the owner of the Sands hotel and casino. Pretty cool and just kind of a sign of the future. It seems like he is always one step ahead with different moves Cuban has made. And with the TV contracts the way they are, with gambling in America the way it is across the world, you could see how it's heading in that direction. Maybe he's smarter than we think he is.
Probably so. I'm still thinking about Ariel. I'm pretty sure you're 2 phone calls away from anyone in this world. Pretty sure if you want to talk to like the Saudi prince, couple calls, Kevin Bacon, you call Kevin Bacon, he calls the Saudi prince, y'all are connected.
Yeah, there are definitely some phone calls I can make, but I actually love it. I think Cuban's a super smart guy, and he still maintains full control of the team, if I understand correctly.
Basketball operations for sure.
Right? So and the Adelsons, they just want to invest in something that is going to 10x in the next 20 years, and that $3.5 billion could literally be 10, 15, $20 billion in a very long time. Just sit on it and do that. And for the Dallas fans, it's great because you're having an owner who doesn't want to meddle, and they have absurd amounts of money that they'll spend on the team. So I think you're in a good place.
Yeah. Can they actually get rid of Cuban? Like, is he's going to stay on as a position, but can they actually vote him out at some point if they don't like the work?
I don't know the deal, but I imagine at some point maybe there's some kind of like contract in there that after 10 years they could reassess or something.
There's a guaranteed time frame I think in there,
but I think it's great for Dallas. So
the lease on the American Airlines Center where they currently play is through 2032. So I guess in the next 8 years, 2 terms worth, he's looking for gambling to get legalized in Texas, which would allow them to build a new arena and add that to the arena, which would be just incredible. We're seeing that in a lot of different places where they have you could just walk up the steps, go get a hot dog, and place a bet. That would be pretty badass.
Will this hot dog give me indigestion? Yes or no?
That's not.
Probably at our age, but
I know it's weird. I wasn't gonna say it. Things I used to eat all the time, no big deal. Now I wake up and I'm like, oh, I'm never eating that again. This is horrible.
Except for queso, that's never going away.
Well, that's called my bloodstream, so that's just my equalizer.
Let's test you.
Basketball.
Let's test you a little bit here, Ariel. We got a new segment here. Glenn, tell them about it.
All right. So we pick 3 players that are from the franchise that is your favorite. Obviously, it'd be the Lakers. And I'm assuming you've been a Lakers fan for a long time, right?
Yeah, my whole life.
Okay, so these should be pretty easy for you.
21 years.
Cool. Yeah. If you don't get them right, you have to send each of us a legendary moment of our choice.
I way like this game now. This game got so much better.
Usually when you make that joke, it's not really possible, but, I think Ariel has a few legendaries.
I have a couple.
I think just one.
A few here and there. What's your favorite Lakers legendary before I'm pulling this up?
Oh, that's a good question, but I love I have the whole Magic anthology set. So,
my goodness,
the Magic TSD is really cool, and that one comes with his signature.
That was so cool when that came out, dude.
So I love that one. I think that might be my favorite, to be honest.
No big deal. That's a pretty good one to be your favorite, man. All right, name that player. Here's your first one.
So much pressure.
Dun dun dun.
Oh, Andrew Bynum.
Super easy.
Oh, so quick.
Any Laker fan should know that one. JJ Barea knows who that is.
Shout out Former.
Yeah. Well, I got some good.
He had a pretty good career. He was kind of slow out of the gate, right?
Yeah, because he came out right out of high school, and the Lakers were pretty pissed. I think they picked him up in the 10th. He was a 10th pick in the draft.
And then eventually he started contributing more.
Yeah, and then he won the championship in I think 2010, and maybe 2009. Was that Boston? No, Boston was 2008. So I think he won in 2009 and 2010. But one of those seasons he was actually injured.
Very few guys come in straight from high school and they're able to contribute like a superstar, like a first round pick should be expected that maybe was in a year of college and whatnot. So coming straight from high school is always a tough jump, and especially as a big man, it takes a little bit for them to get acclimated. But I know they were definitely disappointed that first year or two. Name that player number 2. Another big man.
Oh, Ronnie Torioff.
Easy work.
Wow,
the Frenchman.
Easy
He's
work.
on the Lakers.
It actually looks like he's wearing his back brace. He had some back problems, so he always looked bigger than he was because he was wearing some contraption on his back.
Is that the secret? Can I get one of those?
Yeah.
I was trying to explain that to Treaticus, I don't know, weeks ago when he was on the show. We were talking about the padding and the things that all the guys are wearing underneath their shorts as well as their top. They're all wearing like the football, padding. So when they dive on the floor and whatnot, they're not. You get to catch an elbow to the ribs. It's not the same since you got a little bit of extra there.
Another reason why MJ is better than LeBron. But.
I liked Ronnie a lot. My brother bought his like authentic jersey, and this is before they had those the deals that if they get traded within a year, you get it back.
Oh,
so
yeah.
He has that jersey for life now.
Wow.
That is really cool that they did that if they get traded within a year. But I liked, when you made a choice on somebody and you had to keep it, you had to keep rocking it. Glenn's got a couple of those at the Knicks.
I do. I'm wearing my Barrett jersey right now, but I have a Tim Hardaway and a Porzingis, and they got traded over to their team shortly after I bought those. So
hello.
I have an Alex Caruso jersey that I absolutely love.
So there you go.
Well, maybe he'll come back.
You have a matching headband.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm lucky right now because I got Dirk and then Luka, and so hopefully both stay with the franchise forever, and that would be fantastic. Anywhere.
I actually bought I had tickets to Raptors Lakers on March 28th, 2020. I had seats.
Wow.
I had seats on the floor next to the Lakers bench, like at the side, all the way next to the Lakers bench. And I bought the Caruso jersey because I was like, okay, it's 2020. Caruso wasn't like what he is now, like an all defensive player. He was really like just a random bench guy. I was like, okay, I'll sit it there and I'll wear the Caruso jersey and maybe he'll sign it for me, or I'll get some giggles from all the Lakers that I'm like in Toronto wearing this jersey. And then COVID hit and it was canceled. And then he got traded. So
and you've never worn it again.
I never wore it out anywhere. I just have it.
Well, I think he might come back. Chicago seems to be in a flux right now, and I think they're going to be getting rid of some players. I bet you that there's rumors about him going back to the Lakers soon. There have been, but I'm not sure I'm willing to give up what the Bulls are going to want for him. So we'll see. He still doesn't shoot, so. He hit a game-tying 3 not too long ago that sent Chicago to overtime, and then they ended up winning. I remember that, but
the one time he shoots is what you're bringing up.
Yeah,
he doesn't shoot that much. You're right. He doesn't score that much. He does little things. It's
always a great bit to have one of the tertiary or into the bench type guys jerseys, maybe more of a role player, because it does stand out to the players as well as the fans. I love that for sure. I
love you using the SAT word right there, tertiary. That was fantastic.
You can't use words you can't spell, right?
Now,
hey, Google spells it, bro.
Speaking of, let's get to the third player of Name That Player. Before we forget, this guy could rip the rim off.
for it.
Oh, Devin George?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
You got
Shannon Brown. Shannon
There
Brown.
we go.
Yeah.
Oh,
There we
nailed
go.
it.
Took him a
I knew that.
second.
Yeah, it took me a second.
So technically,
he
you
was a
owe
good
us all
player.
legendary moment.
You're right. Oh, Shannon Brown. You
Did
know,
you,
they still have that block he did where he pinned the basketball against the backboard.
The
And
backboard.
then Kobe is on the sidelines just going like this. Like, you know,
Yeah.
that's so good.
I love that clip for sure.
Yeah.
Did you have that trouble in class, Ariel, where a teacher would tell you, slow down, read the question. You're trying to mark the answer real quick.
Like
and
7.
Yeah, exactly.
First one done with the test, teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously that wasn't Devin George because he doesn't have the green eyes. I should have known.
Or the tattoos. I don't know either.
Devin George is a good one for another episode, though.
An ex-Dallas Maverick as well.
He would be a good one because remember he was in the community college. He didn't even play. He didn't even play.
Look at your basketball depth knowledge coming out.
Yeah, but it's only Laker basketball knowledge. Like once you start asking me trivia of like anything else, harder to follow.
See, and that's what Glenn really likes. Glenn likes fandom that goes deep. That you're not studying every team. You got focus on your squad and your squad only. That's the stuff that Glenn respects right there.
Well, I respect everything. I mean, I'm a fan of the NBA in general, but yeah, I mean, I'm a Knicks fan first and foremost. But I'm
messing with you. He likes to give people shit a little bit.
You know what? I feel like maybe we all have this, but as we all get older, it's hard to just retain all that information, and it's also hard to really care about a lot of this information. Like we've got so many other responsibilities. Like, you know, I used to live and die with a Lakers loss in December. You know, I would be pissed in the morning if I woke up and saw they lost. Like it would actually hurt, and like life's too short to really feel that pain at my age at this point.
Yeah, the swings are out of control for sure.
Well, the guy who's talking about this, they have championships pretty recently, so I don't know. That might have made it a little easier.
Yeah. But you know what? It's great because like I get to watch my kids now like feel that pain in the mornings that, you know, same thing, you know, like my kids are Laker fans, but they're also Leaf fans, and the Leafs are just the most disappointing hockey team for Torontonians. Like you're just getting gutted all the time. And I could just see like this past playoffs went up, I think 2-0 in the second round. It was the first time they've been in the second round in like, I don't know, 12, 15 years. And, you know, my oldest son is only 11. So like, he's never seen them get to the second round before. And he's like 2-0, we're going to the next round. I'm like, slow down. It's
we're doing it. Yeah, we're going to win it all.
Hold your horses.
These poor kids got so gutted. So gutted.
That's brutal. I've definitely heard that it's Raptors country up there big time, as well as Leafs. Do y'all get a lot of pressure in them at school of how come you're not a Raptors fan?
So they have Raptors jerseys. They have Raptor hats. When we go to Raptors games, if they're not playing the Lakers, they'll root for the Raptors. But also, I mean, we all find this as well now is that these kids don't have one favorite team anymore. They have their favorite players. So, you know, my kids are getting up in the morning and saying, you know, what did Steph do last night? What did Giannis do? What did Luka do? And then do the Raptors win? Did the Lakers win? Like it's a combination of like what did the stars do, and then you know their favorite teams. It's no longer a one team sport for these younger kids. It's really the personalities.
Since you asked, the Stars beat the Detroit Red Wings 7-1, I believe, or something like that. Since you asked about what the Stars did, which is the best hockey team in the league.
I wouldn't even know. I don't follow hockey at all. So I'm living in Canada, watching everyone else.
That's
enjoy.
Random trivia question. This wasn't planned. Do you know what the official sport of Canada is?
Is it not hockey?
I don't think
it is not hockey.
Is it curling?
I think I got it.
Oh, curling was a good guess.
Lacrosse?
Field lacrosse.
Lacrosse.
Yes, you nailed it, 3-ball.
I heard it on the radio.
I didn't even know they played lacrosse in Canada. I thought all they did was do
by the way, that's so Canadian to have a sport as their national, you know, sport that no one really plays or cares about. Every Canadian loves hockey. They're like, nope, that's not the one you're supposed to like. Nope, that's not the one.
Not it.
Yeah, that's so Canadian of them.
We've had hockey move down to Dallas and Texas area more and more, and growing down this way. But we've definitely seen lacrosse grow and spread out. To your earlier point about fandom and following players with free agency the way that it is and has changed throughout our lifetimes. You mentioned kids, but even young adults right now are LeBron fans, are it could be anybody that they're following around the league. Anytime that they change teams, that's their squad, or have multiple because they're following the stars. They might not be a Warriors fan, but they follow Steph. And you mentioned Giannis, same type of thing. Definitely seeing that more and more, which is why I brought that up with Glenn, because we're seeing that with people we're even talking to on the show, that they have multiple teams and multiple fandoms. But some of that is due to Top Shot and collecting and being in discords and rubbing elbows with other fans.
Yeah, I'm more traditional. It's I'm a Knicks fan. And it's been hard. It's been very, very hard. I need therapy being a Knicks fan, but you just stick with it and you support your team, and whatever happens, happens, and you kind of wear it as a badge of honor, even if they suck, right? But a lot of people today, they pick two teams. They might have a team from their area, and if that team's not doing well, they might choose a random other team that is doing well. So it's just different mindsets.
Yeah.
But it's also funny because there's also teams that no matter who plays for them, you will never cheer for that team. It's like I have this hatred for teams that I don't even know why. I'm like, I just don't like them. I'm never going to root for them.
Yeah,
I think it's a personal problem. I need therapy too, Glenjamin.
Right. We were just at the Boston Bruins game last week, and the Bruins and the Leafs are not friendly to each other.
Correct.
And I was rooting for the Bruins because like my whole thing is like I don't really care about hockey, so it doesn't really matter. And also I'm gonna root for the home team when I'm in their thing, unless they're playing an LA team, right? So for me, like that makes sense. But my boys they couldn't do it. They're like, we hate the Bruins. I'm like, but we're here. Like they're playing Buffalo anyway. Like you don't like Buffalo either. Like, yeah, but we hate the Bruins. So I was like, okay. So
Brett, what NBA team will you never root for?
Tune in 17 episodes and I'll tell you.
Wow. Chickening out of the question. Okay.
I can never root for the Celtics ever.
That makes sense.
I mean, I'll answer it. It's the Miami Heat. I just can't. I was at the finals game when the Mavs lost. Miami fans literally tried to beat me up, and ever since then, I'm just 100% against it. So I love Miami, and I do love the Heat because I live in Texas. But when you combine them, no.
Yeah, Pat Riley resigned through a fax.
That's a great tidbit of information right there.
Yeah.
I think with 2006, 2011, we had such a good rivalry, Mavericks versus the Heat, that definitely things got heated, no pun intended there. But I think a lot of my negativity was due to Dwayne Wade and some other things, even LeBron at the time. And I've come around on them now that that D Wade's retired, and we're kind of past that. But I've also grown up a little bit. You get to kind of respect the players, but it's tough. I definitely understand the fandom side, and you mentioned your kids. We all kind of have that youthful feeling when we're watching our team and we want them to win, and when it doesn't go our way, it just really hurts.
Yeah. So maybe we could pivot to CNC a little bit, because Ariel is one of the founding members, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I am.
Okay.
You're not mistaken.
Yeah.
How do you feel that it's CNC's going? Or the 1 year birthday just happened, anniversary.
Yeah.
So how do you see where CNC is right now, and where do you see it going in the future?
Honestly, it's so impressive what you guys are doing. I'm a small piece of it, working in the background. No, I'm in the background, but I mean, from where we were a year ago till today, just seeing the quality of content, how much more polished it is, the personalities like you three guys and the moment by moment guys, just, as we're growing these personalities and really trying to turn this into a media company, it's just been incredible. It's so impressive to watch, and I couldn't be prouder for all you guys and knowing all you guys. But it's just been I mean, really watch one of our first episodes or forget that. We didn't even have podcasts. We were jumping on, Twitch or on, what was it? Or on Playback and doing these random chats with no rhyme or reason. Just such a different feel. And it's incredible to see the growth. It really is.
Yeah, and I don't know the story. If you could do real quick, just a quick synopsis. How did it come about?
Oh, okay. So I have an advertising agency, and Treat was starting to post these videos and these little jingles and songs about Top Shot. Yeah, he was doing all these cute little things, and he was trying, intentionally or not, to become an influencer, but he had really no clue what he was doing. So I offered to give him some pointers, and at the same time, SDA was working on a different, like a platform for onboarding for beginners and NFTs and Top Shot. And I was kind of working with both of them and just helping them out and giving them advice. And I put those two together. I said, you two should really talk. And then somehow I got pulled into the three of us deciding on what something like the CNC could look like. And that's really how it started. It was just, meeting people. And if you really want to say how it started, it's from the Nine Lives Lounge, because I met these guys through we all joined the Nine Lives Lounge within like 2 or 3 weeks of each other.
What up, cool cats? Shout out.
So that kind of brought us all together in this. We had this little Twitter group, and then from there we kind of continued on our journey.
Blossomed.
That's what I was gonna say, man. It has definitely grown. Man, we can't say how thankful we are that you guys got together and got that going. It sounds like you're the original connector. You were collecting already, and you connected SBA and Treat together, and
the OG.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
the rest is history.
It's interesting because before Top Shot, I was more of a social media lurker. So I read posts. They say something that's like 10% of the people are active and 90% are just reading and lurking in the background.
Yeah.
So I was more of a social media lurker where I didn't post anything really, or nothing. I didn't really have. I feel like Top Shot kind of put a focus on what my social media should be like, versus just like lots of random ideas that I had. And that allowed me to, I guess, start posting more and have opinions on this one thing that I really love. So it's been really great, both personally for me on social media, but also getting to know everyone and growing Collectin and Connectin. So, yeah.
I think there's a lot of people on Twitter or on X that have a similar story of that they had a Twitter account or they started one when they started Top Shot, and it kind of gave them a purpose of, hey, I have a Twitter account. I can use that for this. And then that's all they tweeted about. So I think that definitely has happened a lot, just as for people communicating and getting to know others.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, it's so crazy, though, because y'all getting together, meeting Nine Lives Lounge, having these conversations, it's crazy how things come together at the right time, because there was so much kind of just on the Twitter, that 10% spreading negative vibes just about different situations. And now it's like the only group chat I really like checking besides the Mavericks is the CNC stuff. You get in, there's the most hilarious stories and people are sharing vibes and collecting strategies. And it's like it's grown to be this gigantic family, even though half of us have never met and some of them have. Y'all two have Ariel and Glenn Jammin have a really cool IRL eating story, and I love food. But it's just so cool how this all started, and now like we're doing this and sharing stories and sharing real life experiences, and it's grown to be this awesome, positive vibe in the community.
You guys met up? When did y'all meet, you and Glenn?
I think in June, right? Like,
yeah, it was probably about 6 months ago.
Yeah, I was dropping my kids off in camp, and I was in New Jersey, and we met up for lunch at a kosher deli, and we had some really great pastrami sandwiches.
Nice.
It was great. Yeah, it was really fun. It's always interesting, telling my wife, so what are you doing now? Well, I'm meeting someone that for lunch. Is it a business meeting? No. Like, well, who are you meeting? This guy, Glenn. From where? From Top Shot.
From New Jersey.
She's like,
from the
she's like,
internet.
she's like Top. I'm like, It's some random guy on Twitter. I'm like, but don't worry, I trust him. She's like, okay, if I don't hear from you in 2 hours, I'm calling the police, kind of thing. You know, like,
he was on his phone a lot too. He was probably asking him, like, is everything okay? Are you tied up in a basement?
I literally, when I met Scotty J, I had people checking in on me. They're like, you're meeting some random dude to grab drinks. A, are you okay? And B, like, check in with us, make sure you're still alive.
Yeah, it's always funny. Like I did the same thing. I drove to DC and I went to a Wiz game with SDA and Top Shot Wiz and a bunch of Wizards fans.
Love it.
Last December, it was like a year ago, and again, it was the same thing. It was like, wait, so you're going to DC? They're luring you away with free tickets. I'm like, it's not luring me with like, it's like
it's a trap.
Exactly.
Yeah, what am I, a fish? Like,
I'm like, I'm an adult. I think I can do this. She's like, I'm not sure. I think you're getting lured with tickets to a game. I'm like, well, I do like basketball. So.
Do you like Wizards basketball?
Yeah. Well, last year the Wizards weren't as terrible. We
almost everybody that's meeting a new spouse, a new girlfriend, boyfriend these days is meeting online with apps. I don't see why we can't do it for friends also. Like,
exactly.
Normalize this.
Yeah. So when is the first CNC meetup? Are there any plans in the works?
I don't know. I would love to do one. I know we've kind of talked about it. In Dallas feels like a perfect location. Just it's kind of halfway, like midway in the US, and I know Treat is somewhat nearby.
And we have a great airport. If anyone wants
great airport. It's definitely something on the radar. Maybe we'll try to squeeze it in 2024. We'd have to figure it out. I don't even know what it would look like, you know.
To make sure you don't miss a thing like that or anything else happening around CNC, make sure you check out CollectinandConnectin.com. We're on Discord, Twitter, Instagram, and obviously here on YouTube. Appreciate everybody watching. Definitely got some great convo in there, talking strategies and learning from people like Ariel, but we're also just kicking it and hanging out, setting things up.
That's it.
True story.
Yeah, Ariel, where do you see Top Shot going this season? Do you think it's on the right path?
I love what's happening with Top Shot right now. I like the communication. I like the I like the cadence of the drops. I mean, we could argue that it's too many, but and every day, every week, expecting people to drop some money is tough. But again, there's other ways to win the packs, whether they're doing the weighted leaderboards or the burns or the trade tickets. So there's other opportunities. So I like what I'm seeing. I know that on Thursday is going to announce something. On Tuesday is going to be the drop. Over the weekend, there's going to be some boards going on that like burn boards going on that we could figure that out. So honestly, like that's all we've been asking for is some communication and understanding what's going on. They've also already said, before the season and the roadmap, like what the mints are going to be. So for the most part, doing these weekly things means that, we're going to see throwdowns throughout the season, and, it might be 5 moments. And we already know that with the throwdowns for the wins, that they're doing in like 5 moments plus a challenge award and then an expert, the master challenge at the end. So I'm very happy with it. There's a couple little things I'd like to see different, but I'm not going to be too nitpicky.
They have really improved a lot of stuff. For instance, I don't know that y'all care, but on my phone, you can't see it. I just got a notification that apparently I just got some packs in the draw that I was just in.
I did as well.
Cool. And not only that, they're testing some cool stuff too, like the fast break stuff and all that has been kind of talked about, and a lot of people are kind of in the testing of that. It's just, I really like the direction and some exciting things in the future, I think.
Yeah, Ariel, I might need you to call someone and let me in the fast break. I've been trying to get in for like 2 weeks.
Oh, fast break, interesting and really cool. I'm enjoying it. It kind of makes me want to buy some legendary moments I don't own, just so I could play these guys more often.
I know.
I had a call with some Top Shot people this past week. Just like I like to give them my feedback. So I'm there's not real alpha here, but if you have played fast break or even if you haven't, just to explain how it works is that It's sort of like a daily fantasy where it's going to ask you to hit certain goals. So last night's was, choose 5 players that are going to get you 120 points and 25 assists. So a combined that, and you have to use the moments that you own. And Commons allows you, and it's over the course of a time period. So let's say you'll have 15 challenges over the course of a month. And then you're allowed to use each player a set amount of times depending on the tier of the moment. So a common you could use 1 time, rare you could use twice, and legendary you could use up to 4 times. So when I'm saying it's kind of making me want to buy some legendary moments is, I had to think about not using Hallie last night for the assists because I only have 1 left because I only have his rare. I don't have a legendary. So I was like, should I get his legendary and I could use him more often? So I'm not sure how I feel about, buying these, but I like that it's doing that. And in fact, if you look that, especially Hallie, all his moments have doubled in price since more people have been part of Fast Break. So one of my concerns that I talked about yesterday is that, when I spoke to Top Shot was there's still how to differentiate between legendaries, right? So currently right now, if you own a legendary, you can use it 4 times. But if you own 5 legendaries of LeBron and someone else owns 1, we're both getting the same amount of uses over the course of that time. Also, over the course, LeBron, I think, has something like 15 or 17 legendary moments on the platform. There has to be
all of them.
No, I don't. I don't own all of them. Not even close. Not even close. But there has to be some. Again, we're going to talk about perceived value. Is S1 greater than S2, and is the record breaker and the block greater than his S1s? Even these are questions that have to be understood. And how do we value those? So we again, I don't know the pricing on this stuff, but you could get, I think the cheapest LeBron legendary is about $1,200 or so, which is his TS51. So someone could buy that one, and then someone could buy the $5,000 one, or buy the legendary finals one, which I think is priced now at $40,000 is a low ask. But there again, you would argue that the legendary finals one is a better moment than the TS50. At least perceived, because it's an S1 and it's his finals moment. But again, you're only getting the same value in terms of Fast Break. So what does that look like in the future? And they've been iterating literally every day. They're testing it, trying new things, adding new features to it. So I imagine they'll have to come up with a way that, in 10 years from now, when there's 25 Lucas legendaries, how do you, there has to be a way to value the ones that are better. Exactly. So I'd like to see that.
The idea of not being able to use someone a ton of times. There's so many great NBA players. Maybe they do a rookie one. Maybe they do, someone the class of 2021 or something. That way it makes it more interesting. Because if you're just throwing LeBron and Luka and all these people in every day, it doesn't seem that exciting to me. I think the variety of the other players is pretty cool. That's just my opinion. But
well, that's kind of the cool thing that I've enjoyed, and Ariel, maybe you too, is it makes you look at how many times you can use a player. It's not your standard just fantasy where every week you're picking the same players.
Correct.
Within 1 week, right? There may be 5 or 6 of these mini games, these mini challenges, and you have to, am I going to play this guy that maybe gets 10 minutes a game because I can't use LeBron every time, or I can't use this guy every time. You're starting to look at bench players and how many minutes they're getting. And one of the things I really like is when you go through and scroll, it's got the player, and based off the challenge every time, it has the average. They average this many assists, this many points, and it has them for every player. So you can kind of pick and choose a couple strong candidates and then a couple dark horses that might fulfill and, may go off and have a crazy game to get some, those challenges completed. It's really kind of cool. I like the direction so far.
Yeah, no, I use StatMuse as well. I don't know if you guys use it, but it's really awesome. And it's the easiest way to visualize all the data. And then I don't have to kind of click on each team in Fast Break to find the players I want. I could just look through the list. It gives me a list of players that are hitting certain stats, and then I could decide from there. Yeah, it's definitely made me think about how I want to start and who I want to play. Like tonight, I'm playing DeRozan, and I probably wouldn't have thought about him, but I wanted to hold some of the other players for another time. So
very cool.
It's
obviously
really cool.
Some details to hash out to make it as great as it can be, but it sounds like they have a great beginnings of a product on the platform with Fast Break, because it's a good confluence of not only the ownership, which we've always said was important, but then you're adding the daily fantasy and some gamification to it. And it's taking your basketball knowledge. You're having to watch the games and have an idea of the stats to even have a good idea of who to choose. And then they're limiting with rules on who you can choose how many times. I think that's a really solid starting point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been really cool. It's been really cool. So yeah, overall, I think TS has done a really good job this season. Plus, the moments are just incredible. You know, I mean, we said this in S4, but just the editing and the moment production, that Jokic base set where he's getting the trophy and his ring ceremony for just like a base comment, it was just an incredible moment.
Yeah,
so
insane.
Shout out to the curation team. Shout out to Top Shot. We love the platform, love everything that's happening, and really enjoy having you here, Ariel, man. You're returning again as a guest. I love to have you on the CNC pod, and love hanging out with talking ball.
Always a pleasure.
It was awesome.
We have one question, though, that we've been talking about amongst ourselves, and we want to know from you. We want you to share with us. Don't freak out. I already see the mind going, where's Brett going to go? Food, basketball, queso, all these different things. We just want you to share one of your fondest basketball memories, whether it's you playing as a kid, a game you went to, a game you took your kids to. Like, what's something when you think about a basketball memory that you're going to hold forever? What is that to you? I know you probably have a few.
Yeah, I do, and I've shared the Magic story before, so I'm not gonna share that one. I'm pretty sure I shared that Magic story on the podcast. So you should go back to
you have.
So I was gonna say go back to an old podcast that I was on. Go back to the old podcast, but that Magic story is one of my favorites. But there was this one's a little more recent. I mean, I guess not that recent because Shaq was on the Lakers, but I was Shaq was injured and he just got back, and his first game back was playing against the Raptors in Toronto. And I made a sign that said "Welcome back, Shaq," but I spelled back BAQ.
Nice.
And obviously that's how you do it. And I was sitting in a box in the ACC at the time. It was the Air Canada Center. Now it's the Scotiabank Arena, but at the time I was sitting in a box there, and I was holding up the sign wearing a Lakers jersey, and the Raptors mascot climbed up onto the ledge of the box and then like kind of tiptoed across it and ripped the sign out of my hand and then ripped it in half on the Jumbotron, and the entire stadium was cheering the Raptor and booing me, and I'm just shaking my Laker jersey, like
awesome, dude.
It was just like, it was me versus like 17,000 Raptor fans. It was awesome.
Oh my gosh.
It was a great time. And my wife was just like bright red and going, "You're such an idiot. Like, just sit down, just stop it." I was like,
Shaq watched the replay and it's like, my man.
For sure.
That's so great.
That was great. One other just crazy story that happened in like the last 5 or 6 years. I was going to be I always try to go to the Lakers Raptors when the Lakers come to town. And I messaged that I was looking for tickets on Craigslist and whatever. And I got this message, so I bought these tickets on Craigslist, and then an hour before the game, someone messaged me and said, "Hey, are you still looking for tickets? I have floor seats, center court." I was like, "This sounds like a scam." And he's like, "I'll just sell them to you at face value." I was like, "Oh, I already bought tickets." But I was like, "You know what? Forget it. I'll try to sell my other ones and do it." And I was like, "I don't understand what this guy is," but apparently his law firm has like season tickets, and like last minute he was supposed to go and he couldn't, so he just wanted to get rid of them.
Yeah.
So I couldn't believe it, and it was so shady. And I met him at a subway station. I was like, "This is for sure a scam." So while I didn't want to sell the other tickets I bought until like I knew for sure that they were legit. So then, like, on the subway on the way downtown, I was like, okay, now I got to sell mine, and it all worked out great. But like, I couldn't believe that happened, which was also super cool.
That's crazy.
In the back of your mind, Ariel, you are a 1 in the hand is better than 2 in the bush. What am I doing?
Exactly.
This is going to burn me.
Exactly.
What 2 great stories. Welcome back, Shaq, and floor seats at midcourt off of Craigslist.
Off of Craigslist.
At a subway.
Everything good comes off of Craigslist.
Yeah.
That's a great place to end. Ariel, man, thank you so much for your time
Thanks,
today,
guys.
buddy. This was great hanging out, collecting and connecting. Appreciate you for starting this thing so we could all hang out together.
Love you guys. This was fun.
Gratitude, man, for sure.
Yeah, thank you
for
so
everything
much.
you do behind the scenes. Thanks for everything you do, man.
Enjoy,
Love you
guys.
too, man. King Brett, Glenn, appreciate you guys. All of CNC. See you next time.
Bye,
Be
guys.
careful.